This is Storm Warden today, coming at you today with another video, and I'm going to update you on our latest tropical threat, and I'm going to give you some in-depth analysis, just like I did yesterday, on our potential concerning signal that we're still seeing in the models. So we're going to get on to that. If you've been liking my weather content, please subscribe, and without further ado, let's get into the video. So currently this morning, our area of interest is back up to a 50% chance, so that did raise from a 40% yesterday, and it raised back up to a 50% chance, as models have been somewhat a little bit consistent in showing at least some development of this system. So that's the latest update on that from the National Hurricane Center. They had raised it back up to a 50% chance of formation within the next 7 days. So I'm going to show you IR satellite, and this is our area of interest right here. I'll draw it on the map for you. Right here is our area of interest. This big old area of convection. This is where our area of interest is, and you're probably looking at this and you're probably saying, "Well, this isn't much." Well, it's not. What we're seeing right now is some mid-level dry air, which is somewhat tainted its ability to create convection and sustain convection. So pretty much what we're seeing is some dry air, probably from up in here, coming in from the mid levels, and it's kind of putting a cap on convection. However, as this pushes further east, I don't expect that to continue, but it is a caveat. And if that mid level dry air continues to just puncture its way through the system, this system may take longer to develop, leading to a further south and a further west track. So that'll be something to watch over the next few days. But if this area of convection can sustain itself and form all into one big cluster, and we can get a low level circulation, we're looking at a much more concerning system, as conditions will get favorable as it pushes east towards northeast. But if it continues on this trajectory where it's not maintaining its convection and it's just all everywhere scattered about, well, then we're going to have a much weaker system that will tend to push more west and more south. So, and it'll be moving pretty quickly if this continues. So we'll have to watch convective trends and see how convection maintains itself. Now, we're going to get started by showing you the brand new models, GFS model that came out this morning. So we're going to go through this and we're going to show you this. And like I said before, watch this area over here, because that's where our system is coming from. And notice, it looks very anemic. You're not seeing much. Here we are Wednesday morning. You're still not seeing much. But as you get later into the week, you will start to see some development of the system. And I'm telling you right now, the GFS, it doesn't develop the system until very, very late, till it gets into the Gulf. And then once it gets in the Gulf, it just becomes an all-out major hurricane that heads towards Louisiana. And this is the 12th of September on Thursday, so a little far out from now. But what the GFS shows is basically what some models have been showing, some models, where the system remains very anemic and it's not able to sustain convection. Therefore, it just continues to push west, and we don't get a system until it gets to the Gulf. And this just goes to show you that the Gulf is very favorable right now, with very warm ocean waters and no wind shear and no dry air. So that just goes to show you how favorable we are in the Gulf. But that's if this system isn't able to sustain convection, and it just becomes just another dry system in the Atlantic. Now, here's a Euro model that came out, OOZ. This was last night's, early this morning's run, and we're going to show this model. And this model favors a little bit better development of the system, and it's further northeast, I want to say, and it develops the system next weekend, and it cuts through the Yucatan Peninsula, and then it becomes a hurricane as it heads into the Gulf of Mexico, and it looks to be barreling down towards that Mississippi-Alabama border. So that's something to watch as well. I'm telling you, the Gulf of Mexico is very favorable right now. So that is something to watch. But that's what the Euro model is showing right now. And the Euro has been somewhat consistent, but because we don't have a low level circulation, models are going to be back and forth. You're going to see a lot of model images with major hurricanes. Nothing's set in stone right now. The system is very anemic right now, and it's very weak. So right now, you know, I could see a more southern westerly track, but I would not be totally surprised if convection starts to really fire up and we get a much more sustained system. Now here's the Canadian model, which has been on the most southernmost models. It actually has a storm forming by somewhat Monday, Tuesday, and it creates a tropical system down the Caribbean. And then it cuts through the Yucatan Peninsula and then becomes a hurricane in the Gulf of Mexico, and it starts to turn north towards Louisiana. This is a Canadian model. Yesterday it was showing a much more anemic southern route, but today it's pushed further north and it's now showing a hurricane in the Gulf of Mexico. This just goes to show you that models are back and forth and there's no certainty in this forecast because again you don't have a low level circulation. Without a low level circulation, the track everything is just up in the air. Now here I'm going to show you the icon model, and this is 06Z, so it'll only go out to 120 hours. So and probably won't show much, but I can show you to the end of its run. And here we go. We're going into our day. And as we get to next Thursday, notice we don't have much of a system. We don't. So again, if I'm going to go back here, if we continue to see convection not sustaining itself, well then I can very well see an outcome like the icon model happening where we literally don't have a system that forms until next weekend. So based on what I've seen, you could have a system that forms as early as Tuesday, and you could have a system that forms as late as Saturday. Whenever that happens will certainly depend on where the storm goes and its long-term track and future intensification. Now, I know you see this system up here towards Texas. This is this area up in here. I'll highlight it for you just so you can see it. This little 20% area up in here that could become something. It's only a 20% chance, but you'll want to watch out for heavier rains along the Texas coast and the Louisiana coast for some heavier rain. These are sneaky systems. Sometimes they can get a name, but I'm not sure that will. But it's not a very potent system. It'll bring a lot of rain, some breezy, gusty winds, maybe. So watch out for that down there near the Texas coast. I want to show you some ensemble guidance, and then towards the end of the video I'll give you my overall thoughts. I don't want to keep you here long today. I just want to kind of give you the overview. I don't want to ramble over my words. So here we are with the EPS ensemble members, and we'll go in time and notice they start to perk up. Notice how they're still favoring development of this system. And look at the wide range of possibilities from the OOZ European model. You have a lot of solutions. One being the furthest south track in this area. You got a track further in the West Gulf, and then you got a track over here in the Eastern Gulf. There's a lot of scenarios at play because one, you do not have a little of circulation. I want to keep saying that because you're going to see model runs. You're going to see people say, oh, there could be a major hurricane on the Gulf Coast. Nobody knows that right now. Without a system that's actually been able to sustain convection, no one knows that. And then you gotta factor in that this storm will interact with Hispaniola, which means those are taller mountains, which could affect the storm as well. So that'll be something to watch out for. Now, I also want to show you the GEF ensembles from OOZ, and these also show that the system will develop. But notice how the GFS ensembles are actually favoring that this storm develops rather quickly, and hence the why you see most of these ensemble runs do something like this. Because I'm telling you right now, if you get a system that forms quicker, number one, stronger storms, stronger hurricanes love to gain latitude, which just means they love to go north. So hypothetically, if we had a stronger system, I could see a situation where this storm wants to turn towards Florida, or maybe it wants to turn east of Florida. However, that's highly unlikely based on current observations, based off radar, and based off just the environment right now. That's highly unlikely, but it is not out of the question that can happen. Nothing's out of the equation right now because, again, we don't have a low level circulation. Now, I want to show you this as well before I go. And again, the environment ahead of this system is quite favorable. You don't really have any wind shear that you're dealing with in this region, especially in the Gulf of Mexico. So you get a storm that forms. I'm telling you right now, the Gulf of Mexico is a bomb waiting to go off. You get a storm that goes into the Gulf of Mexico, and we're looking at a dangerous situation, possibly. But right now, no one knows. And again, you got some mid-level dry air over here in the Atlantic. Let me draw right there. Some dry air over here in the Atlantic, which is kind of keeping our system very anemic right now. However, don't expect that to continue based off ensemble guidance from your EPS and the GFS ensemble. So right now, that's all I got. As we get closer to this storm, I'll have more details. I have a much more in-depth analysis. But for now, we don't really have a system. Convection is very anemic, so we're kind of just at a waiting game. So I'll see you guys later.